Logical versus emotional versus psychological SEO, search engine optimization. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining the room. Thank you for being part of this amazing communication space because we talk a lot about things. And one of those things we're talking about today is to deal with SEO. How do we logically process content? How do we logically process information? And what do we do to get that information out there to the most available person ready to receive it? You know, there are so many ways to go about it, and there are so many ways that we have to build. But one of the best ways to really think about building your business is by focusing on what are the real goals, right? What are the real things people are needing help with? And if you can be the one to solve that problem, then you can be the result for that problem that they're having. So, logical SEO deals with the easy questions, right? How to do this, how to do that. Those are very quick questions with quick answers, right? Emotional SEO is technically trying to make a decision from a commercial standpoint when it comes to looking for a product to purchase. Because emotional SEO deals with all the emotions. Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you excited? What is the feeling that you're having? And what are you typing to express that feeling, right? So when you express that feeling, you're expressing that feeling from a point of connection. The connection that you're making is building the attention that people are grabbing, right? So if you're emotionally connecting with people, hi, don't guess it. Good morning. Finally, I'm like notification. Did it hope did, did the notification hit your phone or did you just knew I had a room?
It did hit my phone. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Favor.
Yay, good morning. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
happy you're here. Yeah, how have you been?
I have been good. I have been good in this entrepreneurial street. It is a lot. It can be, it can be a whole lot. But taking those logical, emotional SEOs is what I'm here to kind of like join the conversation and see what you have to offer the people and what everybody else can offer too. So we're all going to learn together.
Yes, we are. Thank you for being here. There's so much to tap into. So, yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining. You're welcome. Liverpool's finest. What's up? How are you day? What's up now?
I am good, Faber. Good morning, good afternoon from my end as well. I'm just enjoying the weather actually, because we had a big massive heat wave last week, but it's nice and cooler this week. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this room actually. I'm looking. I always find that when I come into these rooms, I'm always learning something new. So even like the room yesterday, I think it was talking about was it primary and secondary data and things like that. I've never really heard of that concept before, and I learned quite a lot. So I do appreciate these rooms because yeah, I do learn quite a lot from these rooms. So yeah, but over to you, Favour.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had a deep room yesterday about zero party versus first party versus second party versus third party data. And it was a deep, deep room. So yeah, I'm glad you learned something because I did a search online just within the ethos, if I can put it like that, of the internet to see what are people really looking for. And that was at the top of the list. So I decided, let me go in. Another thing at the top of the list is AI marketing. People want to learn how to do AI advertising. It's a thing that's happening. So if you know how to do these things, you can really go far with your business. So that's a good one. Thanks for that insight as well. Jonathan, welcome to Room. I know you're also busy too. How are you? It's been a while.
Wow, Favor. Hope you had a good weekend, and hey to everybody wherever you are. Hope you all are having a good start to your day, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, man, been busy. Can't complain though. To Liverpool's point, always love popping in these rooms because there's always a ton of value that comes from it. I hate I missed the conversation yesterday of zero, first, second, third party data. I wanted to ask, did you have that on replay? Because I would like to check that out later on. Appreciate you as always.
Yeah, anytime. Yes, the replays are available in this marketing club, and you can also find the replay. Actually, I did this. Great question you just asked. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat so everybody can click on it. Oh, I see Jenna as well. Love you too. I see you in the chat as well. So yeah, so put that link I put in the chat is the link that will take you to the podcast, and you can listen to the podcast episode with that. And also, if you're on Clubhouse, you can also listen to a replay here, because just to give people a quick refresher, right, of what we're talking about and how it's important for you. Zero party data means that if I meet you in person on a one-on-one and I give you my number, that's zero party data. There was no influence, there was no filter. It was one-on-one, right? That's zero party data. That's what we do connecting with each other. First party data is now when you do the same thing, but it's through a medium, like an email sign up on a website, you leave your information. That's first party data, because you're putting your information again, but now instead of giving it to them directly, you're putting it into a system. Like if you want to, let's say, leave your resume at an office, you just say, "Hey, here's my resume." You drop your resume at the office desk, at the secretary's table. That's zero party data. They didn't ask you for it, you gave it, or they may have asked you for it and you gave it in that form, right? So it's different than first party data. Second party data, right, refers to what you see as information from your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. That's second party data, because you don't own LinkedIn, but you own the data, not ownership right wise, but content wise. That's why it's always good to start from your website down to your social media, or use second party data to enhance your first party data, right? So that's how you do it. And then third party data is like Crunchbase or like Wikipedia, where a third party website is telling you about your information or kind of giving you insights or analytics to yours. So that's just a quick rundown of what zero to third party data is, because all these information pieces are important because they piece together, and that goes into logical SEO, emotional SEO, and psychological SEO. I'll start off with logical SEO, right? Logical is where I define it as informational, right? Because logics, when you think about logistics, we think about data, all these things are contributing to your understanding of a concept, right? So if it's logical, then I'm looking for something that is structural. And if it's structural, then it means it has some type of value, right? So if I'm typing in how to cook jollof rice, how to bake a cake, how to bake cookies, how to tie a tie, how to drive, like those are questions that have logical value, because everybody is aware of that information. It's logical. Like we all know what that is. So it's not like, oh, it's rocket science, or we need to, we know the value of that information. So if we know 1 + 1 is 2, then that's what we get into, right? So the logical piece gives us a sense of creating content, and this is where the SEO value is coming from. If you're an expert in something, define it. Just like a dictionary has authority, it's because it has definitions. So if you have a business and you are running it and you're talking about something consistently, you should be able to have a page on your website that defines what it is. Like for me, I have a website page that talks about what is SEO. I've defined it in form of an article or in form of a podcast, because when you define it, someone is listening to your interpretation, your definition, your experience, your perspective. And your perspective is important because they're going to use your perspective to create their perspective. So the logical SEO is where you answer questions, right? If you go online right now and you're looking for, motivational books to read, Google is going to tell you what is a motivational book. It's going to say, here are the pros and cons of a motivational book, whatever that information would be. Google.com is a website, right? We look at Google.com like a search engine, but itself is a website. Google.com is a website. It's a .com. So treat it like a website too, because the search you're searching for, Google is giving you a search to search with. So when you really look at Google beyond the scope of just Google search or Bing search or ChatGPT search, all these search boxes have related queries. They have questions that you've never seen a question asked and not another question asked. It's always possible that you'll find another 2 or 3 questions asked after the question you've asked. The reason why those questions are happening is because it's specializing in giving you content marketing, right? Because content marketing equals context marketing. Context marketing equals relationship building because you're now giving people examples, you're giving people stories, you're giving people statistics, you're giving people information about the logistics of the industry you're in. So if you're talking about something, talk about it from your point of view. And that also gives you value over time because you're actually connecting with people in real time. There are more people searching for content on Google per day than the number of the the total number of people, the total number of people in the world. So there are 8.5 billion searches a day, right, on Google, and we're just a little bit over 8 billion in the world. So if you do 8.5 billion times 365, right? And if you think about out of the 8.5 billion searches per day, good to have you here, Kosiso, Diora, and Heather. Heather, you've been hiding. I think I've been seeing you on Threads more than Clubhouse. So it's quite interesting to have you here. So thanks for being here, Heather. You know, when you have more searches than people per day, and out of those searches in a day, 15% of them are new, and if 14% of them attribute to new content per day, then that's an average of 14 to 1 counts per day. So if you really do the numbers, you're going up in value because you're actually showing people the experience of your time, right? So those are things to consider when you look at the logistics, because logical SEO is just pretty much a makeup word, if I can put it like that, that focuses on just giving people the informational pieces, like what's the logic, what is SEO, what is digital marketing, what is this, what is a cup, what is a mug, what is a TV, like those are definitions that are just logical, but you need to answer them as a business in form of a web page that has contextual marketing purposes, which includes text, audio, video. So if you do those things consistently, YouTube, podcast, blog, or newsletter, it doesn't have to be every time. I'm not saying that you need to like do it every time, but for the fact that you are doing it, you're way ahead of people who are not even started. So think about that logical piece before we go to emotional and psychological. So we're going to break it down into 15-15, but we'd love to hear from anyone. You don't guess it, Liverpool, Jonathan, or Heather. What are your thoughts on the topic when it comes to logical SEO?
So I like how you really broke this down, tying an adjective to specific search intent. I didn't quite know what this room would be about, but I'm glad to know that I guessed pretty accurately. Yeah, I agree with that 110%. When you look at logical SEO, I had to go to the specific definition of logical just to make sure I was on point. So, characterized by or capable of clear, sound reasoning. These are people that are going after informational content. They have a clear objective, they want to understand something specifically, and you want to be that pillar of authority that provides that clear and concise answer. I also think, and I would like to get your opinion on this Favor as well. I think this could tie into navigational SEO and keywords too, meaning that you're looking for direction from one place to another. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on that. But yeah, definitely aligned. When you're talking about logical SEO, you are and really we're getting into the psychological behavior of who you're trying to target, your ideal audience. What state of mind are they in based off of what they're searching? The better you can align that adjective with that search intent, you can reverse engineer your content strategy and keyword strategy to attract the right people organically.
That is so true. I appreciate you bringing that up to the navigational part because it still falls in line because it's a pathway, because logic is a pathway. So if it's binary code, if it's zeros and ones, there's a formula that just has that consistency and repetition. Like if we know 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 0 is 1, 0 + 0 is 0, we can't change that formula because it's just there, like you said. So it gives people that understanding that, okay, this person actually understands the formula. It's not, people may say, why would we have to define it? But if it's not defined, who is going to define it? Your competitor. So when you start looking at the benchmarks of creating this logical approach to actually attracting people to understand the concept, then, like you said, Jonathan, that builds into that logical pathway. So that's a great point. Thanks for that. Heather, we'd love to hear from you, and welcome, Jamar.
Good morning. My brain is mush. And yes, I have been hiding. I've just been nose down, head down, grinding. But like logical versus emotional versus psychological. Logical is just the things that, like you said, definitions. But when I think about this, when I look at this title, logical versus emotional versus psychological, I feel as though that as long as you're doing the SEO things that need to be done, then like just get the SEO stuff done. Like I know that like it's really like important for like logical versus like we're getting like really meta about the SEO, but there are so many people who really have no idea even where to start with SEO. So as long as like you're even SEOing your shit, then I feel like that's like the first step. But logical again, I mean but everybody thinks differently. So that's why it's like somebody's logical search could totally seem illogical to me. I'm of the thought of computational thinking. So it's like when I could think that what I wrote was logical, but then somebody looks at me and looks at what I searched and they're like, you have like 5 heads, bro. Like my husband, like I sometimes look at his searches and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, this is like the most, with the I'm like, dude, like you're not even gonna find what you're looking for. Let me do it. So everybody's perspectives are different. Everybody's thought processes on what's logical and what is not. Also, how people are searching emotionally. Everybody has different experiences behind them. So, and everybody has different demographics, like where you live, like people, places, things are going to warp and change the way that you think and act and search. So somebody who's like really like upset could be like looking for something and like they have like, they're so upset and they are emotional and they're looking for something emotionally to help them on SEO, but they're not thinking clearly, so they are unable to get the answer that they are looking for. So as long as you got, please just SEO your stuff to begin with, then get like super granular meta. But everybody's different and everybody's thought processes and computational thinking and experiences are different. So you kind of need to think about that logically before you even do any of these things, logical, emotional, or psychological. Okay, thanks.
Spot on. Thank you, Heather, for that. It, wow. How do I put this? With SEO, the people think it's the engine, but it's everywhere now. And I think a lot of SEOs I've been talking about recently, SEO is not just Google. Because when people hear SEO, the first thing they think of is Google. It's your phone, it's your closet, it's your refrigerator, it's where you put things. Like SEO is everywhere. You've probably searched in your bag, your wallet. It's SEO. You may not think it's SEO, but it is because there's a cycle. There's something I created. It's a 4-wheel cycle: search, find, click, save. If you're within that 4 rotational axis and it's just moving, People are searching, they're finding you, they're clicking through to you, they're saving it because they're going to come back. They're going to search for it again and find you because they bookmarked you when they were looking for something. So it saves them time. So when you're thinking about the value of time, the lifetime value of a customer, what people are connecting to you for, why is somebody subscribing to your email list? Not because you made a sale, but because you made impact, because you addressed a topic they were in need of, they found it valuable, and you gave them access to your portal. Now they signed up as an email subscriber and they're there for years. Then one day they just show up from nowhere and sign up to book a call with you, and you're working with companies that you never thought you would be working with. It's happened to me before. So I'm speaking out of experience, So sometimes it may not look like it's working or happening, but in the behind the scenes it is. And sometimes delays is terrible. It's always terrible, but I think there's also some type of things we learn too, myself included, because I'm not perfect. But when I say, okay, I'm intentionally going to do this and it happens, and then I intentionally don't want to do this and it doesn't happen, then the effects are very similar, whereby you get a result that is based on what you already predicted. So the similarity between the two is what you already thought of. That's what Henry Ford said. If you think you can or you can't, you're right. So those are things you have to look at when you think about SEO, and not just look at it as, oh, I got to do keywords, I got to do this. Just think about what you're saying. It boils down to two things: experience and updated information. If you can do those two things consistently, good experiences, unforgettable experiences, memorable experiences, and updated information, meaning updating your blogs, updating your show, updating, right? Those things will refresh the algorithm, and that will give you long stand success, right? So that you have that omni-channel presence too. So before we go to emotional SEO, wanted to come to you, Jomar. Thanks for being here. Do you have a question or contribution? The floor is yours.
Oh, I just want to say thank you for putting this room together, because there's some really good minds and good thoughts, and refreshing on the basics. I think one of the things that I can kind of add is, you mentioned customer lifetime value and first party data. 100%. That's the goal. And another way of looking at it is the customer journey. Really sitting in their shoes. Not are we just answering questions, but are we inspiring them? Are we educating them on stuff they weren't that they weren't asking as well? And also looking at building your first party data. The other thing that's really important is building up a position of authority, so that people take your word. And how do you do that? Well, that's that's another 2-hour conversation. Building your authority. I mean, it's case studies. It's getting the right ambassadors. There's ways that you can build by sharing is building your authority as well. So I always look at like HubSpot as a organization that's done exceptionally well with their content marketing through their academy. I'm a customer of HubSpot, and it's not cheap, but it provides the return. So also look at other brands out there that do a great job of providing relevant content, not just content that's gaming the SEO engines, because there's a lot of that still. There's a lot of people that are using AI purely to create keywords and and content purely for the search engines. And I think that's a danger to watch out for, because Google is smart. They'll adapt to what is genuine, what's authentic. And keep in mind that if they have Google Analytics plugged into the website, Google can see average time on page. They can measure engagement. And if you have a lot of traffic and low engagement, they're going to tone down your SEO. So be authentic, be genuine. And the work I've done in the industry over many years has just shown that it comes down to common sense. Be the one that answers the question at the right place and at the right time. And this is all that what I'm saying is repeating the great words that have been said, but in my own words. So it's been refreshing to hear it in other words in the room. I'm based in Europe, but it's great to see that the the basics still ring true, the golden rules still ring true, yet the market is evolving, and AI is really affecting what is organic and what is synthetic. So interesting times ahead. But thanks again for having this room open.
Thank you, Jamar. I really appreciate that. This house is growing every day. So when I say I meet new people every day, it's a new thing, and it's very exciting. It's humbling, and it's also great that we're all sharing the same information, because each one teach one, and if somebody can echo that across the room, and it's a great way for people to resonate that and remember just from not just one voice, because it's a resounding voice, it's a resounding message. So I appreciate you for being here with us. I just gave you a follow too. So, emotional SEO, psychological SEO, I'm going to break this down. We all know it, but I'm going to break it down into very simple formula processes, right? Emotional SEO is based on, another word for using this would be commercial intent, search intent, and transactional search intent. Why? If I'm looking for the best product to use, if I'm looking for running shoes, jogging shoes, we're talking about Olympics now. You see what just happened with the 100-meter race, right? Everyone's talking about the Olympics. Everyone's talking about the medals, the awards, what's happening. There's so much going on, right? Even though it's not like in our face, it's kind of in our face, right? And emotionally, people are going to make decisions. World Cup is coming, right? God willing, I'm a soccer fan, and definitely want to see that happen. It's going to be here in North America. People are planning towards that. They're emotionally planning towards an event. If you've ever gone to Tomorrowland, it's an EDM electronic event. I've never been, but I know when I think about people planning for events, they plan in advance. If you're going to go on a cruise with your family or with your friends, or you're going on a girls trip, or you're going on some type of adventure, right? You're going to plan a year in advance at least. Even before financially, the ideation phase already began before even the financial implementation was even applied. So emotionally, you are creating intent as the person that's producing content with SEO to apply value. So if you want to buy this shoe, what's going to make you buy this shoe is not because this shoe is blue or red or purple or yellow. The reason why you're going to have this shoe is because it's going to make you feel comfortable. It's not going to make you sweat. It's going to make you feel like you're walking on thin air. That's the feeling. That's the emotional feeling you want to get. So if I'm reading that, if I'm looking at that with SEO, if I'm using GIFs, if I'm using emotional pieces, those things are going to accentuate and also create a taste in my likelihood of actually purchasing that product, because I can taste it. Like, when you look at food on the screen and you start feeling hungry, it's not that you're hungry. It's just that what you're looking at is making you hungry, right? So the thought of processing that is a good way to analyze and see how can you connect emotionally to the product. So don't just say, oh, we have this product, it's 3 fabric, it's 3 yards, it's this, it's that. We all know that. Why you, not them? So that emotional piece comes in to now actually do it. If you look at all these SaaS products, they have a commercial intent base value. If you go to ClickUp, if you go to Kajabi, if you go to any other platform, they're always, if you go to their footer, it will tell you Kajabi versus Teachable, Kajabi versus Podia. You go to the next website, Podia versus Kajabi, Podia versus. So you start seeing people are competing against each other for two reasons: branded keyword search and non-branded keyword search. So emotionally, people are searching for these things. And if you say, okay, looking for this example, boom, it will happen. Like, I'll just give you guys a very clear example, right? When you're looking for a product, and this product is, you're looking for an alternative to the product, you're going to type in, I'm looking for, let's say, scented candles, right? And let's say the brand, let's say Bed Bath and Beyond. So you can say Bed Bath and Beyond candles alternatives. Then you might find one at Trader Joe's, you might find one at Costco's, you might find one somewhere else than the place you search. So you're kind of negating what you're saying without saying that you're negating it, but you're emotionally adding attachments to what you're looking for emotionally. So if you're emotionally placing your content online commercially, you be the person to actually compete with your competitor. So you say this versus that, my product versus that person's product. Why us? So that when they find both of you, they can now have an informed decision. And if they purchase you, that means you won, right? If they win, that means they won. So if you win, this is what you hear. If they lose, this is what they hear. So you have to think about what you're doing emotionally to create those expressions that create that intent, right? And then psychological is a little bit deeper, right? And Heather touched on it a little bit. That psychological comes from transactional because it stays transactional and then it moves around an informational base. This is what I mean. When you decide to live in a home or an apartment or a penthouse, wherever, a castle, wherever you want to live, right? That zip code, that province, that street that you moved into, you had to make a financial, emotional, logical decision before you psychologically made that impact to actually make that purchase. So psychological SEO means if I'm going to run ads in this area, this zip code area, I know that people love to go to Whole Foods, they love going to Target, they love expensive things, they like luxury, there's a mall right next door, this is where they live, this is their household income, how many kids are here, what are the ages of the kids. Like, it gets so specific that you even know the schools the kids go to. That's psychological SEO, because psychologically you're preparing people to learn about your product. So if your product is luxury branded, then you're going to show up in a different way, right? Even the font that you pick for your brand is going to accentuate or even give the value of that brand. Even if it's a new brand, I've never seen it before, but because that font looks classy, I'm going to give it the class it deserves. So that's really where you think about psychological SEO, your fonts, your sizes, right? Size matters, right? Because if you look at email marketing, I just learned this recently and I want to share it with you. If you increase, I mean, I'm doing testing because everything in marketing is testing. So don't take my word for it. I'm telling you from what I heard, what I've seen, what I've researched, and I'm telling you to do your own research too. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, keep testing. If you increase the pixels, because everything online with HTML is regarding to pixels. SEO titles, tags, meta tags, those are pixels. When you look at the letter W, the letter M, they have bigger pixel size than the letter I, the letter J, because of the pixel size, the width, right? The width of the letter, right? From point A to point B. So if you increase the pixel size, right, the font size from, let's say, 12, 13, if it's that's the font size, to about 16, 17 in your email list, you get a 2 to 3% increase in conversion rate. Now, that is what the statistics are saying. You, on the other hand, have to prove those statistics by creating a case study. I'm only telling you what works or what could work. If I tell you, dig on this well, you're going to get, coins. You'll know there are coins in there, but you have to do the work to dig out the well and get the coins through. So I'm just giving you the tool, and then you can now process the tool with your tool or with your toolbox. So psychologically, you have to create intent, search intent, so that emotionally people are connected to you, so that logically it makes sense, so that it can actually drive targeting value up the roof, and that can give you value over time. It's not SEO is not an overnight thing, it's an overtime thing. And if you can catch people's attention over time, if you can retain the information over time, sending emails, being consistent, you're just going to keep winning every single time. So that was my TED talk. And I'm good to go. We have about 10 more minutes, 11 really, but I wanted to, share. If anyone has any question, put it in the chat. Let me know what, made the most sense to you and what really worked for you. And we'd love to hear that. You don't guess it, I want to come to you because I started off with you in the beginning. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking when you came in the room? What was your process? And now, as you've heard, what is your next move? Oh, we can't hear you. Try it again. Maybe try the audio quality or the switch from Wi-Fi. Okay, she's gonna come back. Let's see. Yeah, guys, put in the chat, please. Let me know what made the most sense. And I see some of you
Hello,
as
can
well
you
with
hear
the
me
ticket
now?
on. Yeah.
Beautiful. Feel like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
We're
Um,
gonna do this for that.
anyway, good morning, everybody, again. So, Favors, I'm new to the SEO world. Yes, and I am an entrepreneur, but I am still learning. So I always find these rooms very fascinating and insightful. So when it comes to the emotional bit, because the emotional and psychological bit, because I'm in the healthcare space, I can relate to that, right? but like my newsletter that I've published on LinkedIn, which you have supported and you've helped through that process. A lot of the feedback that I get on the back end, or even in my inboxes or people that I know, is like, oh my goodness, it's so relatable. So I see the comment that was made about if Google doesn't feel like your content is authentic and real enough, then your SEO will basically be scrapped. So in the year, in the dawn of the AI, a phenomenon, we're doing everything quickly with AI and all that stuff. Yes, you are going to convert and turn over work quickly, but how much. How relatable is it to your general audience? How relatable is it to your customers? How relatable is it to the shareholders that you're trying to partner with? You're trying to have them finance whatever it is that you're working on or whatever. It makes sense to um, stand out. Pharrell said something years ago that resonates with me in everything that I do, and because of that, the process is longer, and it's easy to compare yourself to others. It's easy to say, but that person is, I've gotten so further from me, but that person's message may not be as authentic as my message because I am looking to be unique. Pharrell said, "Same is lame." Right? Same is lame. So that thing, sits on my heart. I cannot be like everybody. I am not everybody. I am my own self. So it's reassuring to hear you say it might take a little longer, but you're going to get the traction that you need, that is worthy of your time, and that is, helpful to your business. So thank you everybody for sharing. I'm here learning. It helps me. Yes, I am, all for AI, but I am a firm believer that with every AI used, there has to be a human component on the back end. So thank you, everybody. That's all I really have to offer.
That was a great one. Thank you, Don't Get It, for that one. Yes, 100%. You have to think about having AI behind. Like, even look at Amazon, even though, yes, they've, dropped a lot of people staff wise, even the AI, the robots that are still within those buildings, there are still people who are managing those things. So it's not like all AI 100%. It might get there, but there's still somebody at the end of the day that still has to do some type of maintenance, management, something. So that's a really good point to think about. Thank you so much for that. Hidden, coming to you. I wasn't in the 100-meter Olympics. Let's set that record straight. But normally, the name Favor, like, for me, like back then, the name Favor wasn't really common. And then even Favor as a guy, if you ask other Nigerians, a guy named Favor is really rare, right? So it's mostly girls. And I don't know if it was a girl running. I didn't see the 100-meter race for that one that you referred to, but mostly that's what happens.
Actually, it was a guy.
You see what I'm
It
saying?
was a like.
So it's rare.
So yeah, it was. I was like, oh, that's my friend name. It was just crazy because I'm like, oh, that must be it might be a popular name there because I had seen it. I think it is a woman's name, Favour Obasi too, that runs. So yeah,
True.
but yeah, on the subject that we're talking about, uh, yeah, that's I, in marketing, psychology is baked into everything as well as emotion. I think all of them are kind of baked together, but they're separate entities that you have to bake, like separate recipe ingredients that you have to bake into the cake, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Give us a little bit more.
Okay, so like, you know how they say, people they buy with, they buy with emotion and they justify it with logic. And the logic is, when you say logic, it's psychologic. Psychological. It's short for psychological. So psychologically, they telling themselves it's worth buying. But it's it's baked. All of those ingredients are baked into the product pretty much. So I would say like as far as like it's just like I always say nobody takes into account the psychological aspect of products and services, but that's really the main point.
Major key. Thank you so much for that, Hidden. Yeah, I think when people look at the letters, actually, no, we don't read, we scan. That's what marketing psychologists say, that people don't read, they scan. Because if I jumble up the words, let's say I jumbled up this logical SEO, emotional SEO, like a Scrabble, you will still read it and you still know what I said, but it would not look like a logical way of saying it or reading it. So it's really plays into psychology. That's why even McDonald's, you see how they have their big bags and you see how they write on their bags in text from left to right is justified to the left. All those things because people read from left to right. So if you really think about like the logical sense of, size, pixels, images, visual communication, emotional value, you know, all that stuff. Coca-Cola sells happiness, right? Like that emotional value allows you to pick it up, even though I don't drink Coke, but you can, pull it out of the refrigerator and like that feeling. People want to feel that when it's hot outside. Who wants to drink hot Coke, right? So you want to create those emotional experiences so people connect, the dots. And strategist says yes, the psychological explanation. Yep. And I'm Ebo Liverpool. So just to answer everybody's question at once. But yeah, this is great. I'm glad that we learned something new, and we're not just looking at these, welcome Monty. We're not just looking at these words as just words, but they actually have something connected to them. If you focus on great experiences and updated information on a media platform that has access to global entry, then you're doing everything right. But the steps to get there is like you love the tip of the mountain, but to get to the top of the mountain, it will take some tiptoeing and some things to do before you get to the top. So those are things to consider. But I'm glad that we went through this topic. I've been doing rooms every day because the podcast you see at the above is going to be 5 years, literally next week, Monday. So I'm doing daily rooms just from now till then. We're top 3% globally, and a lot of things I've learned. I've learned a lot. And it's like when I think about some of the years, sometimes I even gave up on myself. Like some people don't really know that because they have 5 years podcast. Yeah, we're hitting 400 episodes and 150 have not been published, but I'm like, I'm not, I mean, to me, I'm slowing down, but to people, it's like, wow, that's so much. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I got to do better because we always have to keep improving. So I'm doing these rooms daily. I had an SEO Sunday yesterday. I'm having logical today. And then tomorrow, I'm going to have some other rooms up until the 12th. So at least we can have these 12 days of surprise. And towards the middle to the end, I'm going to give you guys some details. So be in the marketing club. I'm usually going to have these rooms in the morning because I have meetings throughout the day. So I'm able to connect with you guys, constantly. So thank you. You don't guess it. Liverpool, Jonathan, Heather, Hidden, Derek, Monty, Shanu, Carlos, Saturday, Ulrich, Brahim, Sane, I hope I said it correctly, Paul, Jivanadam, hope I said it correctly too, and Franco. You are all appreciated. God bless you all. Have a bright Monday, a bright week. Click the link above, save this replay so you can catch up with what we talked about. And I'm going to see you guys in the streets.